Welcome to this third video on how to overcome failure as a student. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 techniques of how to become inspired about your current situation. Now, I'm hoping that by the time you've watched this video, you've watched the previous video on acceptance, because there's certain exercises that I've asked you to complete in that video, which you're going to be needing in this video. But if you're watching all the videos one after the other and it's your intention to go back and do the exercises separately, then that's a different strategy, of course. In this video, I'm going to be talking about inspiration. Now, what is important and very critical for you to do is to put things in perspective. You failed an exam. That's it. You failed an exam. You still have your health. You still have your family, you still have people who love you, you still have a second or a third or a fourth attempt at this. You failed an exam. So put things in perspective. There are many people out there who don't even have the opportunity of studying, and you do. So what is needed here is that almost plucking yourself off from the situation and seeing your life almost from a distance, and to realize that it's okay. You failed an exam. And what is needed right now is for you to overcome this and see things objectively. The second piece that I need to share with you is that failing is a growth process. When you fail, there's something that dies inside of you. It's your previous beliefs about yourself. It's what you believe you can or can't achieve. It's your understanding of the world at that point in time. Because you're going to be changing drastically techniques, your mindset, the way you approach life, it's a growth process. So something has to die, to go away, in order for something else to replace it. And I know I'm taking you to a different path right now, but I think it's easier for me to see it this way once I have overcome my failures, and you'll get there too. I just need you for now to believe me that in order for new things to grow, something else has to die. And so this is what failure is bringing to you right now. So here are your 10 techniques to become inspired about learning and redoing this exam. Number 1, I want you to write out a phrase of what failure means to you right now in a way that's positive, that grows you, that shows the blessing in the situation. I want you to also draw a picture of what failure means for you. And maybe you can draw a picture of, the sun shining, or yes, you're at the bottom of a curve and you're going up, and at the top is success and growth. So whatever that picture is for you, I want you to define failure in a way that's positive, and I want you to draw a picture that describes failure in a way that's positive. Why do you do this? Because I'm trying to initiate your creative thinking so that you can look at this picture on a daily basis that reminds you in a positive way of what failure means for you. Number 2, I want you to create a space of inspiration. When I failed my board exam on my second attempt, even though I had my BCom qualification, I had my diploma in management accounting at that stage, I took all those certificates down from the wall because I didn't feel complete without that one certificate that said I passed my board exam. So part of my process of healing and my process of inspiration, when I attempted that exam for the third attempt, I put back all those certificates back on the wall, with the exception that I put up 2 blank certificates. And it was 2 certificates because I had to complete board exam 1 and board exam 2. So every time I looked at this wall and I looked up when I'm studying and I saw that blank space, I knew there was something still significant for me to complete in relation to my studying. And that inspired me. So I don't know what it is going to be for you, whether it's a certificate as well. You could do that same because I think it's a very powerful visual to create for yourself. Or maybe you can come up with your own visual inspiration wall. Whatever that is, I need you to go and think of how to create a space of inspiration. When you look at that, it's going to remind you of what's to come once you pass this exam. Number 3, I want you to go and write down 50 to 100 reasons why passing this exam is important to you. Yes, you heard me. 50 to 100 reasons. Now, when you come up with these reasons, you might be saying the same thing in different ways, different wording, doesn't really matter. Why you do this exercise is because you are entrenching in your mind and over entrenching again and again and again and again and again the many reasons why it's important for you to pass this exam. It's almost like imagining, if you had to pour hot water over jelly. If you pouring hot water over jelly and you just hold that hot water in one spot, eventually like a rivet runs down one side of jelly. And when you do this particular exercise, it's like creating a very strong connection in your brain as to why it's important for you to pass this exam. So come up with reasons like, why is it important to pass exam for your career? Why is it important for financial purposes? Why it's important for you individually? Why it's important for your community? Why it's important for your family? And you carry on coming up with reasons. And like I said, you are more than happy or willing or able to repeat examples again and again. Number 4. The question is, what are you willing to do, change, or behave in order to pass this exam? You see, like I said in the previous video, you can no longer take things for granted. You can no longer do the things that you did before. Something has to change. So this exercise is about that reflection. What are those actions you're going to be doing differently in order to pass this exam? The amount of time that you are committing to this is one of the things that will change. I know that guaranteed. If previously you didn't spend as much time on this time you are going to be spending a significantly much more amount of time in order to pass this exam. So go ahead, write those actions down in terms of what you're willing to do, change, behave in order to pass this exam. Number 5, this is going to be hard, but you need to do this exercise. What I'm asking you to do is to count the cost of failure. So think of financially how much it has cost you to complete those exams, to register for those papers, to buy the updated courses, to attend the board courses. How much has it cost you in terms of time? How much has it cost you in terms of your career? And most importantly, are you willing to continue to endure this unnecessary cost in your life by not taking this seriously? So when you stack up these costs of failing the exam in the previous attempts, you get a number, you get a reality check of what this actual cost is. And that should be enough to inspire you to do things differently. So go ahead, do the exercise. I don't know what it's going to be for you, but I know it's going to be a big number. Number 6, it's the wording of how you phrase things. Stop saying, I need to pass this exam. It sounds very desperate. Stop saying, I have to pass this exam. It sounds as if someone else is forcing you to write this exam. Stop saying, I must pass this exam. It sounds like you have an obligation and there's nothing inspired about you writing this exam. Start changing your words to say, I choose to pass this exam. I am committed to doing things differently to pass this exam. I am going to find a way to pass this exam. Because when you use those words, it becomes much more deeply rooted. It comes from a source very deep within you. And it's almost like your entire being feels this change, and it comes out in the wording of how you express yourself. So what I'm asking you to do is to be aware of every time you're saying, I need to, I have to, I must pass this exam, and instead change the wording to I choose, I commit, I am. Number 7, important to manage your thought process. You see, your thoughts can either be a question or a statement that you ask yourself. Those questions or statements can either be rational or emotional. Emotional questions sound like, why did this happen to me? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why am I going through this again? And poor quality statements sound something like, the world is against me. I'm in a hole. I'm in a dark place. So, when you have emotional questions and statements and it constantly turns itself in your brain, it creates this spiral effect of fear where one emotional thought builds on the next, builds on the next, builds on the next, and eventually you feel that emotion of whatever it is that you're saying. So a very critical element here is to watch your thoughts and to become inspired to change your thoughts. So how you do that is by asking a more rational question or saying something more rational in terms of a statement that's going to inspire you. So it sounds something like, who can I speak to help me pass this exam? What can I do differently to gain insights on my situation? What can I learn about myself in this situation? What is failure trying to teach me? Those are rational questions and rational statements. Some examples of that is, I am able to overcome this. I know I can overcome this. I'm going to find a way to overcome this. And so you come up with your own rational questions and rational statements that you start saying to yourself. That's number 7. Number 8 has to deal with planning, preparations, and your adjustments to schedule. Now, I don't know if you're going to be writing your exam, whilst you are working full time or juggling other family duties whilst studying. I do know that you are going to have a studying timetable. So what is needed is for you to speak to people around you, whether it's your work colleagues, your family, your friends, and then just tell them that for the next few months, as long as you're studying, this is priority for you. So as an example, I know when I completed my third attempt at my board exam, I sacrificed a lot. So yes, I used to go to my friends' functions or my family events, but at some point I used to go home and study. I just went for a certain amount of time and then I went home. Some functions I didn't go at all because I had a test or upcoming exam in preparation for that big board exam. So I'm saying, speak to people around you, create that support system, communicate your exam schedule, and make sure that people are aligned to what you are doing because you are going to need that support. And then with the previous video, I asked you to reflect on what you're going to be doing differently in this next attempt at your paper. And that's what you'll build in to this schedule. What are those changes? Whether it is waking up earlier, whether it is going to work during certain hours so that you could study early in the day, or whatever that adjustment and schedule is, put that down in terms of a plan for yourself. Number 9, understand that right now you're going to be surrounded by people who's going to support you and people that are going to challenge you. You need both support and challenge in order to succeed in this exam. What do I mean by this? The best is to share an example. So when I failed my board exam on my second attempt, I had my mum in the form of support saying, "No, don't worry, you'll get through things. Just go through the papers, understand what went wrong." And so that comforting type support came from her. On the other end of the spectrum, I had my father saying, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you pass? All my friends' daughters and sons are able to pass this exam. You're holding up your career." So I didn't understand it at the time. I understand it now. You see, you can't be surrounded by too much of support because at some point you're not going to have that extra kick almost to get you going and to remind you as to what you're missing out. And you also can't have too much of challenge because then it becomes a little bit demoralizing to you as an individual. So as you are studying this paper, be aware of the people who are supporting you and being that guide and comfort to you, and the people who are challenging you to say, you know, we cannot give you this opportunity until you get this credit, say. And embrace both. Be thankful for both in your life because actually you've got the right amount of support and challenge to help you overcome this failure. And finally, point number 10 is on a daily basis is to start a gratitude journal, is to write down all the things that you are grateful for in your life right now, including this opportunity to write this exam again. And I left this for last for a reason because it's so critical. You know, when you fail on this level, it's so easy to forget what you have around you. It's so easy to take for granted the people, your health, your situation, the fact that you are able to study, and you forget. And what is needed is a reminder of what you do have. And when you constantly remind yourself of things in your life that you can be appreciative of, that you can put your hands together and say, "Thank you. I am appreciative. I love my life as it is, and I'm going to overcome this and be stronger." And you constantly review those new areas in your life that you're appreciative of or you're grateful for, it becomes this accumulator effect. It's this effect known as a force multiplier. It's one area in which you are grateful for that builds on the next, that builds on the next, that builds on the next. And over time, in the course of your exam, as you constantly write areas of your life that you're grateful for, it becomes a more support for you. It becomes a source of inspiration. So yes, it's that extra task on top of studying that I'm going to ask you to do. But I also know how much of benefit it will give you as a student when you're reminded as to the love and the gratitude and the appreciation of everything that you have in your life. Because I know that this one exercise, when I did it myself, it kept me going. It kept me motivated. In those times when I had to wake up at 3 in the morning and study and before going to work, this journal kept me going. So I know your own journal, once you start it, will inspire you as much as my own journal inspired me. So yes, these are your 10 techniques, your 10 steps, your 10 actions that I'm going to ask you to complete on your own. And once you complete this, I promise you, you'll be so inspired to actually go out and start studying. And you'll have a completely different shift in your energy, in your state, in how you see things, in how you see yourself, in how you see the world around you. And then in that state, then only I can take you to video number 4. And in that video, I will share with you all the techniques that you need to implement, to change, to reflect on in order to pass this exam. But do this exercise first. And then you can go to the next video where I will focus on your exam techniques to helping you pass your exam. Enjoy the exercises, and I'll see you on video number 4. Bye-bye.